I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit. But anyway, okay. So that is our homestead where we are living right now. And now we have been here for 3 years. But before we moved here, we lived in St. Charles, Missouri, which is a city right outside of the St. Louis area. And so we were there for 6 years before we moved here. And so we loved it. We had this, Craig and I had always dreamed of having a century home, like a historic home. And so we lived in St. Charles in the old, if you know the area, there's a huge historic district. So we lived in that historic district in this, it was a 111-year-old home when we first bought it. And so anyway, it was this beautiful home, but it was in the city and we were surrounded by neighbors, had a teeny weeny little yard. But years ago, God had put on our hearts to learn to try to live a more self-sustainable lifestyle and to learn how to homestead. Now, you can't do that very easily in the city. So 6 years ago, well, we had been looking for years, and we finally bought 6 years ago at some property in southeast Missouri, so on the other side of the state from where we are now. And we had 34 acres. It was way out in the middle of nowhere. And so there were 2 cabins on the property and a shipping container, and we were slowly getting that set up. We worked for 3 years getting that property set up to be an off-grid place where we could live and homestead on that property completely off-grid. And Craig retired from Boeing, where he'd worked for 37 years. He retired in 2021. So we bought the property 3 years before that. And so we were getting it ready. And the plan was when he retired in 2021, that we would go down there and live full time. So we spent all of this time and effort getting it all set up. So it was completely off-grid, completely in the middle of nowhere. The closest paved road was 5 miles away. And so we set up a complete solar power system for our electricity. We had a satellite dish that was run off solar power so that I could actually work and do my business when we were there. We set up rain catchment systems for water. We had a composting toilet. We set up a big, huge garden, a fenced-in garden. And then we actually rigged up this gravity-fed automatic watering system using rainwater. So that, because we didn't live there full time yet, we were getting it all ready to move there. So that we could have a garden and it would be watered even when we weren't there. So it was really amazing. The only piece of the puzzle, of the homesteading puzzle, that we did not have when we were working on that property was animals. We didn't have the animals yet because you really have to be present all the time to take care of your animals. So our plan was Craig retires, and then we were going to move down there full time and then start getting animals and do the homesteading thing. So that was God's plan, we thought, and I believe it was. I believe God led us to do all that stuff. But we thought we were going to live there for the rest of our lives. Well, God had a different plan, as he often does. So I'm going to explain that a little bit. But what I want to do right now, I want to show you this little 2-minute video that's going to show you scenes from our off-grid property so you can get more of an idea of what we were doing. So we have a YouTube channel for our homesteading adventures. Let me show you that. Let's see. It's Hermit's Way Homestead. So that's what we named our homestead before, because we were way out in the middle of nowhere. So we thought, hey, we're hermits, and Hermit's Way Homestead. We like that name. So we kept it when we moved here, even though we're not in the middle of nowhere anymore, really. We're still in the country. But anyway, so this is our YouTube channel. So if you're interested in following our off-grid, our homesteading adventures, not off-grid anymore, then check this out. You can subscribe. I don't keep up with it very much anymore. I don't have time because I'm doing this. This is my passion right now, doing all of this stuff on my podcast and everything. But there's lots of really funny videos with music and all kinds. It's a really fun channel. So I tell all about our adventures for off-gridding, and then when we moved here and started setting up our homestead there. So anyway, here is a little 2-minute video that will tell you about our off-grid. And this is our original. This is our property now, but then I'm going to go back and show you.
Hi, we're Blue and Craig. Thanks for stopping by Hermit's Way Homestead. We started our homestead adventure in 2017 when we bought 34 acres of raw land and an unfinished off-grid cabin in southeast Missouri. Over the next 3 years, we finished the cabin and taught ourselves how to live off-grid. We learned how to set up solar power, rain catchment systems, and a composting toilet. We built a barn, a huge fenced-in garden, and also hunted for our food. Our plan was to move there full-time when Craig retired in 2021. But life has a way of throwing curveballs at even the best-laid plans. In the spring of 2021, we sold our off-grid property and our city house and moved across the state to Blue Eye, Missouri. We bought a house and 3.5 acres where we'll be setting up our new homestead. Our new property came with a barn and outbuilding, 4 pear trees, and even chickens. And so begins our newest homestead adventure. We hope you'll join us as we continue our homesteading journey. We'll be building our new garden, raising chickens, ducks, and rabbits, and who knows, maybe a couple of goats, pigs, alpacas, a cow. Don't forget to subscribe.
It's kind of painful to watch that. I'm a lot better at video editing now than I was back then. So anyway, I made that video 3 years ago when we first moved here.